Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John R. and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a very simple bracelet. Now this bracelet is great because it's appropriate for either a man or a woman, and it's really easy to make. There isn't a lot of fussing with knots and things like that. Now the tools and supplies that you're going to need include a pair of scissors, some cord. What I'm using here is a number 10 silk cord. But if you're somebody who you're making this for yourself and you're lazy and you never take your bracelets off when you bathe, you may want to use something like polyester, which won't rot and fall apart. I've also got some small Heshe beads. These are tubular shaped beads. I also have some double holed beads. Now these are critical to the construction of this, so you want to make sure that you get beads that have 2 holes in them. I also have an 8mm bead that will serve as my clasp. Now in addition to this, I have an Exacto blade, I have a probe or a soldering pick, and I have some clear nail enamel. Now this is used to seal the knots at the end of the project. Okay, let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is remove your cord from the card that you purchased it on. Now these cords are great because, as you can see, on the end of the cord there's a little wire that's used as a needle or a guide. And that's going to make this project a lot easier to do. Okay, so we're going to just take it completely off of this card. Now to make sure that things don't fall apart while we're working on them, I'm going to put a simple slip knot at the end of the cord and pull it tight. Okay, now what you want to do is start with your clasp. Thread the large bead that you bought for the clasp onto the cord. Okay, so while I run that down, I'm going to pull this one back over and show you that if you look right next to the clasp, I'm using one of the double drilled beads because I want a clean attachment, and you'll notice that at the opposite end of this I'm also ending with the larger double drilled bead. So let's put one of those on. So you're just going to go through one end of the bead and then you'll alternate with the smaller Heshe bead. Now you could probably sit in front of the television or even in front of your computer and watch Online Jewelry Academy videos and thread this together. Now all you're going to do is just alternate back and forth between the double drilled bead and the Heshe bead. Okay, I'm going to continue to work on this, and when I come back I should have one half of the bracelet finished. Okay, I've been working on this for a little while and I'm almost done with the first side. I've got the last few beads to slide onto the cord. Now a bracelet, like I said, is about 6 inches long, and you can measure it if it's for yourself just on your own wrist, but you can see where I've got the full length that I need right now. And again, I've started with the double drilled bead and ended with the double drilled bead. Okay, now I'm ready to go back through the other side with the Heshe beads. So all I'm going to do is just take the end of the cord and I'm just going to start it through the end bead, and then I'll pick up one of the Heshe beads and drop that on. Whoops. And then thread the needle through the next double drill bead. Of course, going through the opposite side. And I'm just going to repeat this process over and over again until I reach the clasp. Okay, I'm going to work on this a few more minutes and then I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, so I've been working on the other side for a little while and I just have these last few beads to pull onto the cord. Okay, so pulling those forward. All right, so now the last thing to do is to permanently affix the clasping bead. But before you do that, what you want to do is make sure that you have enough space in the loop on the end to allow that bead to fit through freely. And the best way to do that is just take the bead through it once and see if you got a nice snug fit. Okay, that looks good. And then what you're going to do is take the end of the cord and then just thread it through the large bead. Now, the bead is already at the end of the cord where you made that original knot. And that's just going to stay right there. And, all right, so I'm working the needle through. All right, and I'm going to give this a good tug. There we go. Okay, so I've got my loop on the end, and I've got the cord coming through the other end. Okay, so this is the only tricky part right here, and that is I want to make another slip knot on the cord and bring it to the bead. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to grab the probe, and you could use a large embroidery needle or carpet needle if you don't have a probe like this. So I'm going to take the cord and I'll make a big knot. There we go, just a simple slip knot. And I'll use my fingers and I'll just work it towards that bead, and then I'm going to start to pull it shut. Now as it gets smaller, I take the probe, and where my finger was, I put the probe in its place. Okay. So now all I need to do is just pull it nice and tight, and then go to the end of the probe, keep pulling, and then just use my fingertips and pull the knot shut. There. Okay, so now we're ready to finish up. What you do is you can either use the Exacto blade or you could use your pair of scissors, and you just want to cut right to the knots. Just get rid of the cord. You don't need this cord. Now to make sure that the knots don't open up, take your clear nail enamel and you're just going to paint the knots. And what I usually try to do is I try to give them maybe 2 or 3 coats just to make sure they're nice and stiff. Now if you use super glue, it'll work. But if you're using an organic material like silk or leather, sometimes the super glue kind of wants to melt that material. So I like to use the nail enamel instead. Okay, so I'll leave this one to dry, but now you can see it's very flexible. It'll easily drape over the wrist and looks great. I hope you have fun making this flexible beaded bracelet. Check out our other videos and products on the onlinejewelryacademy.com. Thanks for watching.